This message didn't come early. It didn't come late. It arrived at the exact second your soul cried out without words. You didn't just scroll here. You were drawn, summoned into a moment that heaven has been waiting to release. Something deep inside you already knows. This is not ordinary. Archangel Michael speaks now, not with thunder, but with sacred weight. Beloved, this message is not content. It is covering. It is not information. It is intervention. You were not forgotten. You were targeted by heaven for protection, because right now, whether you realize it or not, something was heading toward you. A storm in the spirit, a hidden sabotage, a whisper behind your back, an open door in the wrong direction, but heaven has interrupted it. Michael says, the enemy planned in silence, but heaven sent this message as a shield. Before the trap, before the fall, before the regret. This message is the interception. No, you're not crazy for suddenly feeling strange these last few days. The restlessness, the tension, the moments of anxiety that seem to come out of nowhere. That's what happens when your spirit senses a shift before your mind can explain it. Psalm 91:4 declares, He will cover you with His feathers, and under His wings you will find refuge. His faithfulness will be your shield and rampart. There it is. The truth. You are not exposed. You are not walking blind into danger. You are being covered right now by something unseen, something eternal. Michael says, there are things moving around you that you cannot see, conversations you weren't invited to, energies trying to attach themselves to your peace. But I was sent to cover the gate. The battle began before this message ever reached your screen. But even then, especially then, you were not left vulnerable. You've been protected not just because you're loved, but because you are necessary. There is something inside you that must be preserved, a calling, a lineage, a healing that will ripple through more people than you know. That is why the enemy has been busy, and that is why heaven is busier. Michael whispers, do not underestimate how far heaven will go to keep you aligned. Even when you didn't know what you were walking into, I did. Even when you blamed yourself, heaven saw the trap forming behind the curtain. This is the interception. This is the shield. This is the grace that shows up before the breakdown. There are people who looked harmless, but their assignment was subtle harm. There were decisions that looked promising, but they would have drained you. There were doors that looked open, but they led to delay. So this message arrived, not as punishment, but as protection, because your future is still on schedule, and your healing is not late. Michael says, I stand guard not just to fight, but to remind you, you are not alone in this. Even the attacks you didn't see, heaven shielded you from them anyway. You are not unprotected. You are not walking into this week uncovered. Heaven's timing is too precise. This moment right now. It was planned to the second. Do you know how many distractions were designed to keep you from this very word? But you pushed past them. You pressed play, and in doing so, you stepped into divine alignment. Right now, something is shifting in the spirit. The plans against you are unraveling. The fear that was trying to rise is dissolving. The tension that's been gripping your shoulders is breaking. And it's not just emotional. It's not just encouragement. This is spiritual protection being activated. Michael says, you have been wondering why certain things haven't worked lately. Why doors won't open. Why people suddenly walked away. That's because heaven blocked what you thought you needed so you could receive what you were born for. You've been praying for clarity. This is clarity. You've been asking for covering. This is covering. You've been seeking a sign. This is the sign. You are in the middle of a supernatural reroute, and though it may feel uncertain, it is holy. Michael continues. Let this word be the confirmation your soul needed. I've walked beside you in the quiet. I've stood between you and unseen darkness. I've held back what was sent to confuse you. And now, I speak, you are covered, you are seen, you are chosen. You're not late. You're not weak. You're not lost. You are precisely aligned with what heaven is doing now. So breathe. Release the fear. Let the past drop off your shoulders like dust. Because what was meant to find you just did. This message is not the end of the battle. It's the beginning of peace. It's the announcement that God saw it all and sent help anyway. Michael says, this is not about warnings to make you afraid. This is a word to wrap you in safety, to let you know that the war behind the scenes did not go unnoticed by heaven. I fought, I shielded, and I covered you, even when you couldn't feel it. Now say this out loud. I receive this protection. I am covered by heaven. I will walk forward in peace. Yes, you just agreed with the covering. And that agreement releases a shield into your atmosphere. Right now, yes, right now, Michael stands at the edge of your space. Sword lowered, not for war, but as a sign, the danger has passed. And you are still standing. Not because you were never targeted, but because you were always protected. Let that truth settle. Let it quiet your mind. Let it wrap around your heart like a blanket of peace. And now, beloved, stay close, because in the next part, Michael will begin to reveal the deeper reason why the pain hit so hard, why the struggle felt so personal, and why heaven stepped in just in time. Stay with me. The next part reveals what's been hiding behind the pain. If you believe Archangel Michael is guarding you tonight, type "protected" in the comments as your declaration of faith and covering. You've been through more than people know. The betrayal, the rejection, the way someone walked away without explanation. It left a wound deeper than words. But listen carefully, because Archangel Michael speaks now, and heaven is not silent about your pain. The enemy tried to destroy you through betrayal, but heaven refused to let it succeed. This wasn't just heartbreak. It was a targeted strike. What looked like a broken relationship, a shattered trust, or abandonment by someone you loved, was actually a spiritual ambush. And yet, you're still here, still breathing, still listening, because what was sent to destroy you failed. Michael says, they meant to shatter your spirit, to bury your faith, but what they didn't know was that I was stationed behind the scene. While they plotted, I protected. While they whispered, I covered. And while you wept, I waged war. You may have felt forgotten in that moment. You may have cried in silence, wondering why the people you gave everything to could turn so quickly, so cruelly. But what you didn't see was that heaven stepped in before the curse could settle. Isaiah 54:17 declares, "No weapon formed against you shall prosper, and every tongue that rises against you in judgment, you shall condemn." This is the heritage of the servants of the Lord. Let that word breathe in you now. That weapon was formed. Yes, the betrayal was real. The heartbreak was sharp. But the moment it aimed for your identity, God said no further. The moment it tried to define your worth, the angels were released. You were not abandoned by heaven just because people left. You were not left unguarded just because they let you down. Michael says, your name was protected in places you'll never know. Your mind was preserved while the enemy tried to push you toward the edge. Yes, that moment. The one where the grief was unbearable. The one where you thought, maybe I wasn't enough. Heaven saw it, and heaven intervened. Because the pain was never punishment. It was a pivot, a turning point in the spirit. What the enemy meant for harm is now turning into power. Michael declares, the rejection rerouted you into the very protection you prayed for. The heartbreak exposed the lies that would have destroyed your future. The betrayal released you from an agreement that was never heaven's will. So no, you didn't lose. You were rescued, and now you are being restored. Let this truth begin to untangle the grief inside your chest. You were not left behind. You were lifted out of something that would have drained your anointing. You may not see it yet, but everything they took, heaven is returning. Not the way you expected, not through them, but in a way that protects your peace, your promise, and your prophetic timeline. Michael says, I stood guard while your tears hit the pillow. I watched as confusion clouded your clarity, but I was not idle. I was reinforcing the walls of your destiny. This is not just poetic, it is literal. Your soul was under assault, but your purpose was under protection. The enemy tried to break you by using the ones you trusted most, because the pain wouldn't have worked if it didn't come close. But even that was flipped, because what came close enough to wound you also came close enough for heaven to mark for reversal. And now, beloved, reversal has begun. Where you were cast aside, now you will be called. Where you were overlooked, now you will be anointed. Where you were misunderstood, now you will be set apart. Can you feel it? The energy shifting around you, the ache softening, the clarity returning. That's not random. That's redemption. That's restoration. Right now, something ancient and sacred is happening. Your name is being cleansed in the spirit. Your identity is being rewritten not by the people who left, but by the God who stayed. Michael whispers, the curse was forming, but heaven overturned it before it had power. The words they spoke will not echo in your life. The labels they gave you are not your name. Now say this aloud. I am not what they did to me. I am what God spoke over me. It is Texans that. The betrayal did not break me, it built something unshakable in me. Yes, beloved, let your spirit rise. You didn't come through that heartbreak empty. You came through with new eyes, new boundaries, new discernment, and now, a new assignment. Because you passed the test, you stayed soft, you chose to heal, not to hate. You kept moving, even when your heart was heavy, and heaven saw it all. So now, Michael releases this word. The ones who thought they broke you will see you rise. The silence they left behind will be filled with divine confirmation. You are not bitter, you are becoming brilliant with the glory of God. Yes, the fire came, but you came out like gold, refined, not ruined, strengthened, not silenced. There's more. Your next season will carry visible proof that heaven was with you. Expect strange favor, unexpected kindness, opportunities that come from people who don't even know your full story but feel drawn to support you. Why? Because heaven never forgets who it defended, and heaven defended you. So walk forward now, not timid, not bitter, but whole. You survived betrayal. You survived abandonment. You survived the trap the enemy built in secret. And now you will thrive in the open. Michael says, what was meant to break you failed. And now the enemy has nothing left to use because you've already outlived the attack. Well, was in two comtibs. Let your heart rest in this truth. You didn't miss your moment. You didn't ruin your future. You were rerouted into something stronger. And heaven is proud of how you survived. So stay close, because in the next message, Michael will begin to reveal why the pain felt so personal. It was never just about you. You've been bleeding from wounds you didn't cause, carrying shame that was never yours, bearing burdens that were handed to you before you could even speak their names. But heaven says tonight, the cycle ends with you. Archangel Michael leans close and whispers, "Beloved, this is why the weight felt heavier than your own story, because the battle did not begin with you. But hear me, by heaven's decree, it will end through you. For years you've wondered why the pain was so relentless, why anxiety and fear seem to chase you even when you try to walk in peace, why rejection, betrayal, or sudden storms seem to repeat across seasons. It wasn't just your choices. It wasn't just bad luck. This has been a bloodline battle. The word says in Exodus 20:5-6, I, the Lord your God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers on the children to the third and the fourth generation of those who hate me, but showing steadfast love to thousands of those who love me and keep my commandments. Generational patterns, spiritual inheritances, family wounds that echo across time. What wasn't healed in them shows up as warfare in you. What wasn't broken in the last season tries to repeat in the next. That's why you felt like you've been fighting shadows, because you've been battling agreements made before you even knew their names. Michael says, the depression you've been wrestling was whispered into your family line long before you were born. The poverty mindset, the silence around secrets, the fear of abandonment, the constant sense of not being enough. These weren't planted by you, they were passed to you. But now, heaven says, enough. You were chosen as the bloodline breaker, the one to stand where no one else could, the one to name what was buried, the one to confront what others ignored. Heaven trusted you to feel it all, not to destroy you, but to heal what your family couldn't. Yes, it hurt. Yes, it broke you at times. But that very breaking is why the oil flows on you now. Because only the one who feels the full weight can be trusted with the authority to break it. Michael whispers, your tears have been intercession for generations. Your prayers have been rewriting contracts you didn't even know existed. Your pain has been heaven's tool to pull up roots that grew in silence for decades. Think about it. How many times did you say to yourself, this ends with me? Maybe when you saw someone you loved choose addiction. Maybe when you watched your parents fight. Or when you felt the sting of words that wounded instead of healed. Maybe when you felt invisible in your own family, carrying shame no one ever admitted. Those weren't just emotional moments, they were prophetic markers. Times when heaven stamped your life with the authority to break cycles. And tonight, Michael confirms it. The battle didn't begin with you, but it ends with you. You are the one chosen to draw the line in the spirit and say, no more. No more silent agreements with fear. No more hidden altars of shame. No more cycles of lack and limitation. No more repeating what destroyed those before you. The curse breaks here. The silence ends here. The healing begins here. You may ask, but why me? Why did heaven allow me to carry this much? And Michael answers, because heaven trusted you. Heaven knew that your heart would not bow to bitterness. Heaven knew that even with tears streaming, You would keep calling on God. Heaven knew that you would be the one to turn pain into prayer. This is why your warfare has been heavier than those around you. This is why the same patterns kept chasing you, even when you tried to live differently. This is why the rejection stung deeper, the heartbreak lingered longer, because the fight wasn't just about your life, it was about your bloodline. But listen carefully, what has been flowing backward through generations is now flowing forward with reversal. Michael declares, healing flows backward to your ancestors who never saw freedom. Healing flows forward into your children and their children. Your obedience tonight becomes the key that unlocks 1,000 doors. Do you feel it? The trembling in your spirit? The tears welling up without knowing why? That's not weakness, that's recognition. That's your soul realizing the battle lines are shifting. Say this now, even if your voice shakes. The curse ends with me. The silence ends with me. The blessing begins with me. You are not cursed, you are chosen. You are not broken, you are becoming the breaker. You are not trapped, you are the one heaven trusted with the key. And what you heal in yourself will echo into every branch of your family tree. Michael continues, you were not born to repeat what destroyed them. You were born to rise where they fell, to carry where they dropped, to see what they ignored, to pray where they grew silent. That is why I have guarded you so fiercely. That is why heaven has kept you even in your darkest nights. Because your life is not just yours. It is a river that flows through generations. Now lift your head. You are not fighting shadows alone. Heaven is with you. Angels are stationed. The Spirit of God is moving through your family line right now. And yes, you may feel tired, but you are not finished. You are stepping into the most pivotal season of your life. One where you are no longer a victim of the past, but a vessel of reversal. Michael says, the battle is ending. The generational weight is lifting. The silence is breaking. The inheritance is being restored. Receive this prophetic declaration. From this moment forward, no hidden covenant will bind you. No generational curse will continue through you. No wound from the past will dictate your future. You are free. Your family is free. The chains have snapped. The contracts burned. The curses canceled. And now, peace begins. Wholeness begins. The blessing begins. Take a deep breath. Let the weight lift. This is not just encouragement, it is a spiritual transaction. You have stepped into the place where heaven rewrites stories, and yours is being rewritten even now. Michael's voice grows soft. Beloved, we honor your endurance. We honor your courage. We honor your willingness to fight what others could not. The war you've been fighting ends tonight. And now the healing flows to you, to those who came before, and to those who will come after. Rest in this. You are the chosen breaker, not the broken one. Now that you see the origin, heaven will now begin to show you the escape. They smiled in your face. But the moment you turned your back, the tone changed. The words shifted. The enemy whispered through mouths you once trusted. Lies, half-truths, accusations, conversations you were never invited to but felt anyway. Archangel Michael leans in now and says, lies were spoken behind your back, but heaven's covering drowned them out before they could take root. You weren't imagining the shift. You weren't crazy for sensing the tension. That heaviness, when you walked into certain rooms, the silence that wasn't peaceful, the sudden distance from people you once laughed with, it was spiritual. They didn't just talk, they partnered, whether knowingly or not. They allowed their words to echo the enemy's intent, to make you question your identity, your integrity, your calling. But heaven intervened. Isaiah 41:11-13 says, "All who rage against you will be ashamed and disgraced. Those who oppose you will be as nothing and perish. For I am the Lord your God who takes hold of your right hand and says to you, 'Do not fear, I will help you.'" Michael whispers now. They spoke low, but heaven spoke louder. They twisted the story, but heaven wrote the truth. They tried to stain your name, but God sealed it in glory. You may not have heard the full conversation, but heaven did. Every whispered word, every false assumption, every slanderous twist. And God did not stay silent. He dispatched angels to shield you from the effects, to guard your reputation in the spirit, to block the root from growing into your identity. Because you are not what they said. You are who God knows. Michael says, "Before they even spoke against you, I was already in position." Every lie that was launched like an arrow, heaven caught it mid-air. And now, the spiritual courtroom has ruled. Vindication is yours. You may have lost some connections, but you didn't lose your covering. You may have felt exposed, but you were never left unprotected. Because your name is written in places no slander can reach. Your reputation is held in the hands of the only judge who matters. Yes, those lies could have changed everything. They could have shut doors. They could have isolated you. But God, He overturned what was forming. He reversed the curse before it could lock in. He spoke peace over your name, while others tried to plant suspicion. And now, beloved, your honor is being restored. Not by chasing validation, not by explaining yourself, but by letting heaven do the talking. Michael says, "The people who doubted you will begin to feel confusion, not because you exposed them, but because your peace exposes them. Your joy is louder than their gossip. Your fruit is louder than their words." This is the season where your results will speak, where what God does through you will become louder than what others said about you. You don't need to prove anything. You don't need to convince anyone. Let heaven keep writing your story. Let peace be your proof. Say this aloud with me. I am not what they said. I am what heaven has declared. My name is protected. My spirit is clean. I walk in peace. Yes, that's a courtroom decree. And as you say it, chains fall in unseen realms. Every false word is now stripped of power. Michael speaks with authority. They tried to dim your light because it made them uncomfortable. But instead of fading, you've become even brighter. And now they can't figure out why their words didn't stop your rise. The truth? They didn't make you, so they cannot break you. Their opinion is not prophecy. Their accusation is not identity. You were vindicated in the spirit before anyone ever saw it in the natural. And that's why you still have peace. That's why you still feel joy rising, even after what they did. Because heaven fought for you. You didn't have to defend yourself, because heaven did. And now, your reputation is being rebuilt, not by words, but by witness. People will begin to notice, not because you said anything, but because God did something. What was done in darkness will be exposed by your light. Not their downfall, but your rising. Not their failure, but your fruit. Michael says, "The angels were present when they spoke against you, and the angels are present now, restoring what their words tried to destroy." There's nothing louder than favor. Nothing more undeniable than results wrapped in grace. This is your season of reversal, where shame becomes honor, where misunderstanding becomes manifestation, where silence becomes sacred. You don't have to go back and explain anything. The blessing on your life will explain it for you. Michael speaks again. Those who watched you walk through the fire will now watch you walk into fulfillment. Not to shame them, but to glorify the God who covered you in the fire and brought you out untouched. There's something else. Some of you have even carried guilt because of what was said. You've questioned if maybe they were right. Maybe you were too much. Maybe you deserved the distance. Maybe the pain was punishment. No, the enemy tried to use their words to infiltrate your mind. But now, in Jesus' name, that mental warfare ends. Michael declares, every false agreement is now broken. Every internal lie you believed because of their external words is now silenced. You are free from the narrative they tried to write about you. Your light is not too much. Your heart is not weak. Your calling is not in question. Your path is not derailed. God heard it all, and heaven responded. So stand tall, walk freely, smile deeply, because you were never unprotected. And now, the same mouth that was once accused will become the voice of testimony. The same name that was once questioned will be honored in unexpected rooms. Let peace settle now. You don't have to fight it anymore. Heaven has already ruled in your favor. Stay close, beloved. Because in the next message, Michael will begin to reveal the hidden root of anxiety and how it's about to break. The torment in your thoughts wasn't your imagination, it was warfare. But it's breaking now. You haven't just been tired. You've been under attack. The tossing, the racing thoughts, the panic that sneaks in when the lights go off, the memories that rise like waves when the world grows still. This hasn't been normal tiredness. Archangel Michael speaks clearly now. You thought you were just overthinking, but heaven saw it for what it truly was, an assignment against your mind. The enemy knew he couldn't destroy your spirit, so he targeted your peace. This is more than insomnia. This is spiritual interference. And now, heaven is canceling every assignment against your rest. The sleepless nights, the sudden fear, the unease you couldn't explain. It wasn't random. It wasn't just stress. Michael says, every time you laid your head down, a war was initiated. Not because you were weak, but because you were dangerous to darkness. You carry light. You carry calling. And your dreams have always been a portal, an open space where heaven could speak and the Spirit could pour. So the enemy sent noise, confusion, darts of fear to interrupt the communion. But tonight, something breaks, and something heals. 2 Timothy 1-7 declares, for God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, and of love, and of a sound mind. You are not crazy. You are not broken. You are not losing control. You're under spiritual pressure, but you are covered by divine authority. Michael whispers now, beloved, I've stood beside your bed while you wept in silence. I've watched the torment try to grip your thoughts. I've shielded your soul in moments where the fear tried to drown you. And now, by heaven's command, that torment is being silenced. This isn't hype. This is a divine cancellation. The demonic assignments that have been sent to rob your rest are terminated. The fear that has crept in at 2 a.m. is being replaced with peace, with stillness, with revelation. Because your nights are not meant to be torment, they are meant to be a sanctuary, a place of restoration, a space where heaven visits, where dreams are clear, where healing is active, even while your eyes are closed. Michael declares, every false vision, every chaotic dream, every mental storm planted in the night season is now being revoked. The darkness has lost access to your rest. From this point forward, expect your sleep to shift. Expect your dreams to become holy again. Expect to wake up with clarity, not confusion, because angels are now stationed at the edge of your bed. Your room has become a protected space. Say this out loud, even quietly. I receive divine rest. My mind is sound. My spirit is safe. I will sleep under heaven's watch tonight. Yes, that's not just a declaration, it's a permission slip for heaven to enter. Right now, angels are surrounding your atmosphere. A blanket of peace is beginning to settle over your room. And the thing that kept you up at night? The racing thoughts? The panic in your chest? The fear of what might happen tomorrow? It's leaving. Michael says, you've endured long nights of silence, but you were never alone. Now, peace returns. And it's not the peace of the world, it's the peace that passes understanding, the kind that can't be explained, only received. Your nervous system will begin to calm. Your breathing will slow. Your heart will remember what safety feels like. The presence of God will meet you not in performance, but in stillness. You won't need to beg for sleep anymore. It will come to you. It will hold you. It will heal you, because this is not just rest. This is restoration. Every voice that tormented your mind is now silenced in Jesus' name. Every lie that tried to convince you you'd never escape the fear is now exposed as a counterfeit. You are not tormented. You are treasured. You are not lost. You are watched over. Michael continues, heaven has authorized a reversal in your night season. From this moment forward, you are stepping into a rhythm of sacred rest. The angels will now begin to visit with messages in your sleep. Clarity will come while you rest. Even now, some of you feel it. A heaviness lifting from your chest. A coolness in the air. A strange calm in your hands. That's the sign. The war is ending, the torment is leaving, and peace is settling in. Say this with me. I renounce fear. I release control. I receive God's peace. Tonight I will sleep, and heaven will speak. You will begin to notice, fewer nightmares, more vivid, God-given dreams, wake-ups, without panic, sleep that restores, instead of drains. Why? Because Michael is standing watch now. Because the Father is reclaiming your night. Because your destiny requires rest to hear. You can't step into your next season exhausted. So heaven is healing your rest tonight. And you don't need to figure it all out before bed. Let the Spirit do the work. Let God restore what fear has worn down. Let the angels sing over you, like they did when Jesus lay in the manger. Peace, peace, peace on earth, peace in your body, peace in your room, peace in your soul. Michael's voice softens now. Beloved, the torment is over. What haunted you in the night has lost its grip, and from this night forward, heaven will reclaim your sleep. You will sleep, you will heal, you will dream, you will rise, because even in rest, heaven is at work. Even in silence, angels are surrounding you. So close your eyes tonight, not in fear but in trust. Your bed is not a battleground anymore. It's an altar. And the one who never sleeps nor slumbers is watching over you now. Michael says, sleep now. The war is over. and heaven is still speaking. Now that your mind is covered, next comes the moment when heaven speaks about your destiny. Heaven never wastes pain. Every scar on your soul, every tear you cried in secret, every ache in your chest when no one checked in was recorded, not to shame you, not to wound you again, but because your pain is proof that you are called, proof that you are set apart, proof that your life carries weight in the Spirit. Archangel Michael speaks now with clarity and compassion. The pain wasn't punishment, it was permission. You were granted access to a level of authority that only suffering could unlock. You've asked why it had to be this hard, why the disappointments came back to back, why the people you trusted couldn't stay, why the dream seemed to die in your hands. Michael says, because only a soul that's been crushed can carry the oil of heaven with compassion. Only those who've been broken can carry healing without pride. Your wounds are prophetic. They are not the end of your story. They are the evidence that your story is spiritually significant. Romans 8:18 declares, I consider that our present sufferings are not worth comparing with the glory that will be revealed in us. You've suffered, yes. You've wept more than people know. You've carried burdens no one saw, but heaven saw it all, and heaven is now speaking. This is not just pain. This is proof of purpose. The enemy tried to abort your calling by using sorrow. He thought if he could delay you, you would give up. He thought if he could break your heart, you would break your voice. He thought if he could isolate you, you would silence yourself. But you're still here, still listening, still standing, still breathing. Michael whispers, you didn't survive just to survive. You survived because you still carry what God placed in you before the foundations of the world. Yes, the calling is still alive. The anointing is still burning. The mantle on your life hasn't lifted. And your purpose wasn't delayed. It was maturing. It was deepening. It was being forged in fire so that it would never be stolen by flattery or crushed by resistance. That's why you were kept. That's why heaven didn't allow the breakdown to take you out. Michael says, your losses will now become leverage. Your tears will become testimonies. Your scars will become strategies. Everything that hurt will now harvest fruit. Levin roved. You didn't walk through that valley for nothing. You didn't fight through that sickness, that betrayal, that failure just to be forgotten. Heaven never forgets the sound of a soul crying out in obedience, and God never wastes a wilderness. You carry something sacred now. You've walked with God through fire. You've prayed when it felt like no one heard. You've kept going when giving up felt easier. And that is what makes you dangerous to darkness. Because now your very existence is a weapon. Your testimony shakes atmospheres. Your voice breaks chains. Say this out loud. My pain has purpose. My scars are sacred. I still carry the fire. Yes, let your soul rise again. Because you're not starting over. You're starting from maturity. The time of shrinking is over. This is the hour to remember. Asterisk. What you carry. Asterisk. Who you are. Asterisk. Why the fight came so early and so hard. Michael reveals. The enemy targeted you because he saw what you didn't see yet. A destiny that would break cycles, shift atmospheres, and awaken generations. This is why the warfare hit so young. Why the trauma came before the triumph. Because your potential threatens systems in the unseen. But guess what? You're still rising. You're still called. You're still on time. Michael says, your assignment is not over. It is just beginning. You are stepping into the part of your life that will finally make sense of everything that tried to break you. Every delay you experienced was divine positioning. Every no was a redirection. Every ending was a spiritual release. And now, beloved, it's your time to walk in that truth. Not with fear, not with shame, but with boldness, because your story is someone else's survival guide. Your voice will lift others from the same pit you once wept in. This isn't just restoration, it's redemption on assignment. Let your pain become your message. Let your past become your authority. Let your scars become your credentials. Say it again, boldly. I still carry purpose. I am not finished. It is a bento de life. It is a cum de tease. I am being sent healed, whole, holy. And if you know this message is yours, if it echoed something in your spirit, if it shook something loose in your heart, then share it. Let someone else receive the word they didn't know they needed. Tell them, you're not in pain without purpose. You're being prepared. Michael says, your endurance was not in vain. Your obedience has been recorded. And now, your reward is being released. Expect to see strange favor. Doors you forgot about will begin to open. People who once ignored you will begin to ask for your voice. Opportunities will arrive that match the exact places where you bled, because God never forgets where you cried. And now those same places will become rivers of overflow. Rest in this. The pain wasn't random. The delay wasn't denial. The silence wasn't absence. It was all preparation. And now you're ready. Your heart knows it. Your spirit knows it. Even your tears are beginning to soften. Not from sorrow, but from recognition. Michael closes this part of the message with a smile in his voice. You made it through. The enemy failed, and your assignment is not over. Next, we uncover the moment it all began. There was a moment, a quiet, overlooked moment that didn't look holy. It didn't feel divine. It felt like heartbreak, like disappointment, like something slipping through your hands. But heaven saw something else. Archangel Michael says, there was a moment in your past where something spiritual activated, and now, it's time you remember, because nothing in your story is wasted. No season is accidental. That breakup, that betrayal, that death you barely survived, that was the day everything shifted. Not when you got the promotion, not when people started to notice your gifts, not when everything was going well, but when it all seemed to fall apart. Michael continues, you thought it was the day you failed. I marked it as the day you were called. Let your mind go back now, to that moment, that hospital room, that courtroom, that text message that shattered your trust, that funeral, that phone call that pulled the ground out from beneath you. That was the pivot, the spiritual hinge on which your destiny quietly turned. Genesis 50:20 says, you intended to harm me, but God intended it for good, to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives. The enemy intended for that moment to fracture you, but heaven intended it to form you. You didn't see it at the time. You may not have even prayed that day, but your spirit felt the shift, and heaven recorded it. Michael whispers, the pain you felt in that moment masked the promotion you were being given in the spirit. What felt like loss was actually the opening of your next chapter. It is Bidno. You didn't just survive something, you stepped into something ancient, something prophetic, something that had been reserved for your name. Let that sink in. While you were grieving, heaven was preparing. While you were crying out, why now? Angels were being assigned. While you thought it was over, God said, "Now we begin." Michael says, that was the moment the mantle began to fall on you. Not a visible crown, but a silent commissioning. You were chosen in the middle of your pain. You didn't even know it. But your yes was formed in the ache. Your character was forged in the silence. Your anointing began to stir the moment they walked away. Because what they left behind, God turned into your altar. That date you don't want to remember, heaven never forgot it. Because that was the day you stepped into something holy. Not glamorous, not easy, but sacred. Michael continues, every pivot point in your destiny was preceded by pain. But now the pain is being reinterpreted. Now, clarity is being released. Look back not with shame, but with new eyes. You're going to start connecting the dots. What didn't make sense is about to click. Why you were removed from that relationship. Why you didn't get that job. Why the people you thought would stay, left. Because if you had stayed in that room, you would have missed your appointment. If you had clung to that version of life, you would have forfeited the version God was forming. Say this softly with me. I didn't miss it. I didn't fail. I was shifted. Yes, that's the truth your spirit needed. You were not forgotten. You were transitioned. And now, Archangel Michael is showing you what heaven saw that day. Not a broken heart, but an open gate. Not rejection, but redirection. Not failure, but formation. From that moment on, something changed. Your discernment sharpened. Your prayers deepened. Your dependence on God became non-negotiable. And even though you've questioned it ever since, heaven never doubted what began that day. Michael whispers, we marked that day in the Spirit. We surrounded you, even when you couldn't feel us. And we have been walking with you since then, not because you did everything right, but because you didn't give up. You're not who you were before that moment. And you'll never be that version of you again. Because destiny doesn't begin when you arrive. It begins when you break open. Let this word comfort you. Asterisk. What you lost is not greater than what you gained. Asterisk. What you grieved will give way to glory. Asterisk. What you walked away from will be replaced by something holy. Michael says, you've been asking for breakthrough, but you already lived through the turning point. What's coming now is just the result of that shift. The seeds were planted in pain, but the fruit is coming in peace. Say this now. I receive the clarity of that moment. I reclaim the purpose of that pain. I walk forward with new vision. Let that declaration unlock something in you. The ache is giving way to understanding. The fog is lifting. The shame is evaporating. You didn't ruin anything. You realigned everything. And now it begins to unfold. The clarity, the provision, the divine appointments, the peace. Heaven is circling back to the moment everything shifted and rewriting it in your heart as the beginning, not the ending. Michael's voice grows tender now. Child of light, you survived the shift. You were refined in it. And now, you are ready to carry the weight of your calling. So hold your head high. You're not behind. You're not broken. You're not disqualified. You're marked. You're protected. You're on time. And now that the veil is lifting, it's time to talk about what was buried in your bloodline. You've felt the weight of something unspoken your whole life. A quiet ache beneath your victories. A heaviness in your chest you couldn't name. Like a shadow in your bloodline that followed you silently. But now Archangel Michael speaks. The time has come. What was hidden must come to light. It was D2, not collars. This is not just about you. It's about what you inherited. Not just in DNA, but in spirit, Michael says. There is a secret your family never told you, not out of malice, but out of fear. But heaven has waited for this exact moment to reveal it to you. And now the veil is lifting. You've always felt it. That something didn't quite line up. That there were missing pieces. Moments no one explained. Stories that didn't match. Questions that were dismissed. You were carrying a silence passed down through generations. But heaven has no interest in secrets that keep you bound. Luke 8:17 declares, "For nothing is hidden that will not be made manifest, nor is anything secret that will not be known and come to light." And now the light is shining, not to expose you, but to free you. This is the moment your spirit has been preparing for. Michael reveals, there was an agreement made perhaps before you were born. A decision, a silence, an unspoken belief that entered your family line. It shifted your atmosphere. It blocked certain blessings. It stirred confusion, insecurity, and cycles that felt too strong to break. You've been fighting what you couldn't name, battling what you never agreed to, struggling under weights that weren't yours to carry. That's why the warfare felt confusing, why you kept circling the same mountains, why your prayers often felt delayed, because something was hidden. But tonight, what has been buried is being unearthed. Michael continues, there is a truth about your calling, your identity, your inheritance that was veiled by generational fear. And now, that truth is being spoken aloud for the first time in your line. This may shake you. It may bring tears. It may reframe your understanding of your family, your past, even yourself. But do not fear, because what you feared would destroy you is actually the doorway to your freedom. There may have been a curse, a secret addiction, a lineage of control, manipulation, or silence. There may have been someone who chose shame over honesty, but now you stand in the middle of this divine moment, and heaven is rewriting the legacy through you. Say this softly, what was hidden in my family stops with me. What was passed in silence ends here. I receive the truth, even if it shakes me. Let your heart stay open, because the Spirit is not revealing this to punish you. It's revealing it to position you. Michael whispers, the lie was that if you knew the truth, you'd fall apart. But the truth is, now that you know it's your time to rise, there is an inheritance that was stolen, an anointing that was buried, a spiritual calling that someone else forfeited out of fear, pride, or pain. And now, heaven places that mantle into your hands. You are not what they said. You are what God sealed. They may have labeled you out of their own brokenness, told you to stay small, quiet, invisible, but heaven never agreed. And now heaven is speaking a better word. You are chosen. You are seen. You are called to break the silence, to walk in truth, to reverse what was hidden in darkness. Michael says, this truth has waited years, generations to be spoken, and now that it has reached your ears, it is transforming everything. Even now, something is shifting in your spirit. Your shoulders feel lighter, your heart feels raw but awake, because truth always unlocks what lies try to suffocate. This is your permission to grieve, to feel the sadness of what was hidden, to release the anger of what was withheld, but also, this is your moment to receive what was reserved. Heaven has kept it intact, the blessing that someone else buried, the favor that went unused, the calling that skipped a generation. It's coming to you. Say this with courage. I receive the inheritance that was lost. I embrace the truth that was hidden. I walk forward in light. No more shame. No more confusion. No more wondering what's wrong with you when the truth is, you were fighting what others didn't dare confront, but you did. And that's why Michael calls you brave. That's why heaven calls you healed. You are not the secret. You are the solution. You are not the problem. You are the prophetic reversal. Everything is being realigned now. The spiritual ledger is being updated. What was owed is being restored. What was broken is being mended. Michael says, heaven waited for your generation, for your courage, for your willingness to let light do its work. And now the reward begins. Your dreams will clarify. Your confusion will lift. Your identity will strengthen, because the hidden truth no longer has power over you. Only grace does. Michael speaks gently now. You did not miss your destiny because of what they kept from you. Your destiny waited. And now that the truth is revealed, it runs to meet you. This is freedom. This is full healing. This is heaven restoring your name. Rest now, child of truth. The worst of it is over, and the best of it is on the way. Now that the truth is revealed, next comes the release. Even now, yes, even now as these words enter your spirit, freedom is unfolding in the unseen. This isn't imagination. This isn't emotion. This is deliverance in motion. There are chains breaking right now. Not later. Not eventually. Now. Archangel Michael speaks clearly and urgently. You are not just hearing a message. You are stepping into a moment of divine release. Heaven has assigned this very moment to break what has bound you. You've carried it for too long. That anxiety in your chest, the heaviness in your body, the sudden dread that creeps in without warning, the depression that won't lift, the illness that defies explanation. But beloved, the chains are snapping in the spirit. You are being released. Michael continues, the oppression was real, but it is not your portion. The delay was real, but it is not your destiny. The fear was loud, but it is not your identity. Instead, John 8:36 says, so if the Son sets you free, you will be free indeed. That promise is active. It doesn't expire. It doesn't waver based on how you feel. Freedom is your inheritance, and it's being claimed now. Michael declares, heaven is now releasing legions of angels on assignment to break soul ties, to tear down word curses, to cut off inherited patterns of limitation. Some of you may already feel it. A tingling in your hands, a sudden burst of tears, a lightness in your chest. Don't ignore it. That's deliverance. That's not emotion. That's not coincidence. That's your spirit reacting to the breaking of chains. Every unseen shackle that's wrapped around your mind, your body, your soul, is being shattered by the voice of freedom. Michael says, there are chains that came through trauma, shackles of fear, bitterness, and hopelessness. But now, by heaven's decree, they are falling off you like dust. The panic attacks that hit without warning, canceled. The nightmares that visit your sleep, silenced. The tormenting thoughts that question your worth, evicted. Deliverance is not a myth. It is a miracle in motion, and you're in the middle of it. Say this aloud, even if softly, even if trembling. I am free. I am healed. I am covered. Yes, that's not just a sentence. That's a spiritual seal. As you say it, you come into agreement with heaven. And where there is agreement, there is authority. Michael continues, your soul has been under pressure, chains of addiction, patterns of self-sabotage, cycles of confusion. But now, they are being broken not by your effort, but by heaven's intervention. You don't have to scream to be delivered. You don't have to beg to be healed. You just have to receive. Freedom flows where surrender lives. And you, beloved, are surrendering right now. By listening, by believing, by breathing through the shaking. You don't need to earn it. You don't need to fix it. You just need to say, Jesus, I receive my freedom. It worked. Right now, angels are surrounding you. Chains are being shattered in rooms with no sound. What once kept you up at night is losing its grip. Michael whispers, there was an assignment against your peace, but heaven has reversed it. There was a plan to keep you in cycles, but heaven has interrupted it. There was a plot to steal your time, your energy, your mind, but it has been canceled. Every spiritual delay that kept you stuck is now being burned away. The atmosphere is shifting. Your body is responding. Your mind is coming into alignment. Say it again, stronger this time. I am free. I am healed. I am covered. Chains of religious guilt, broken. Chains of generational trauma, broken. Chains of emotional exhaustion, broken. This isn't hype. This is holy interruption. You're not waiting on freedom. Freedom was waiting on you. To show up, to believe, to open your spirit one more time. And now that you have, heaven is flooding in. Michael says, your healing is not on delay. Your deliverance is not postponed. This is the hour of release. The chains are breaking as you listen. You'll begin to notice. Asterisk, clarity in your thoughts. Asterisk, sudden waves of peace. Asterisk, energy returning. Asterisk, fear losing its grip, because something is lifting. The spiritual weights that have kept you tired, stuck, confused, they are being removed. There is an anointing that flows after freedom, and you are about to step into it. Michael continues, this was never just a message, it was an encounter, and heaven will mark this day as the turning point in your story. You won't need to explain it. People will see it. Your face will change. Your voice will carry something different. Your eyes will hold the proof. Because where chains once lived, now glory rests. You're not just being freed from something. You're being freed for something. For purpose. For calling. For joy. For power. For legacy. Say this. The chains are gone. I am ready for what comes next. This mining past a distance of. Michael's voice softens, but his words carry weight. This freedom is permanent. What was broken tonight cannot be rebuilt. The curse has no legal ground. The affliction has no more permission. The spirit of oppression has been evicted. Let that truth echo inside you. Let your body relax into peace. Let your mind be still. This is what freedom feels like. Not loud, not wild, just holy, real. You didn't imagine the chains, and you're not imagining the breakthrough. Michael says, you've been in a prison long enough, but tonight, heaven opened the gate, and you walked out not empty but radiant. Breathe that in. You're free, and nothing can take that from you. Stay close now, because now that the chains are gone, next is the moment to rise into your inheritance. This is not random. This is not coincidence. This is appointment. Heaven has been aligning time, trauma, and testimony to bring you to this very hour. You were born for this moment. Let those words sink into every place where you've doubted, hesitated, or feared. Everything you've survived was preparation. The battles you didn't think you'd make it through, the silence you had to sit in, the nights no one saw your tears. It all had a purpose, and that purpose is standing in front of you now, knocking at the door of your spirit. Archangel Michael speaks. You didn't just survive the enemy's attacks. You were sent into this timeline, anointed, covered, and chosen for such a time as this. This is not just about what you endured. This is about what you carry. You carry wisdom others discarded. You carry strength forged in fire. You carry a mantle that has outlived generational attempts to silence it. Esther 4:14 reminds us, "And who knows but that you have come to your royal position for such a time as this?" That verse was never just for Esther. It's been whispered over you since before you were born, and now heaven is declaring it publicly. You were born for this. Say it aloud. I was born for this. That declaration unlocks something in the spirit. Michael continues, your name has been preserved. Your purpose has been protected. You are not here late. You are not here by accident. You are right on time. There were moments in your life when you were close to giving up, but something kept pulling you back. That wasn't just strength. That was heaven. That was your calling refusing to die. And now, that calling is rising. The oil of your life has cost you greatly, but it's that very oil that is about to flow into others. What you thought was just pain was really the pressing of preparation. Michael affirms, you've been chosen not because you're perfect, but because you're willing, because you said yes when others said no, because you stayed when others walked away, because you believed when everything told you not to. And now, the inheritance is being released. Doors that were shut for years are opening, not because of hustle, but because of divine timing. Blessings are unlocking, not as rewards, but as assignments. You're not being elevated for comfort. You're being elevated for impact, because now is your time. Michael whispers, others had the chance, but they forfeited it. They chose convenience over calling. But you, beloved, you chose obedience. And now, heaven honors that choice. This is your commissioning. You don't need everyone's approval. Heaven's seal is already upon you. Say this boldly in the comments. I receive my inheritance. Let the digital altar record your agreement. Let your declaration shake the spiritual atmosphere. Type it, own it, speak it. I receive my inheritance. And if this part pierced your spirit, if your heart knows this was not a coincidence, share it. Not for views, not for algorithms, but because somebody else is one confirmation away from stepping into their moment. Let this be that confirmation. Let this be the trumpet that calls forth warriors who forgot their strength. Let this be the wind that revives those on the edge of surrender. Michael's voice rises. You are not behind. You are being unveiled. This is your unveiling hour. When you caper head, the enemy tried to delay you, to discourage you, to confuse your assignment. But it didn't work, because the moment you were made for has arrived. You are not the same person who began this journey. You've been reshaped by truth, realigned by revelation, reawakened by grace. And now you're ready. This is your coronation. Heaven is placing a crown on your head. Not of pride, but of purpose. Not of status, but of service. You were born for this moment. You were never meant to fit in because you were sent to stand apart. You were never meant to be quiet because your voice is a key in the kingdom. Every tear, every loss, every delay, it all led here, right here. Michael finishes with this decree. Now that you know who you are, the final seal of heaven is ready. Healing will complete, protection will intensify, and your steps will no longer wander. And so, we close this chapter with fire in our bones and faith in our voice. You were born for this moment. You are chosen. You are covered. You are ready. Say it again. For yourself, for heaven, for every part of you that doubted. I receive my inheritance. And come back for the next part. Heaven is about to seal what was just released. There's a reason you're still here. And it's not because the enemy didn't try hard enough. It's because he couldn't reach what God hid in you. You've wondered why the attacks didn't completely destroy you, why the breakdown didn't last forever, why you still had a whisper of worship left when all strength was gone. It's because heaven placed a hidden weapon inside you, and the enemy could not touch it. Archangel Michael steps forward now with this message. The devil tried everything. He sent loss, he sent betrayal, he sent confusion, but he still couldn't access what mattered most. 2 Corinthians 4-7 declares, "But we have this treasure in jars of clay, to show that this all-surpassing power is from God and not from us." This treasure wasn't visible to the world. It wasn't loud. It wasn't showy, but it was sacred. You carried something holy, even when you didn't know it. While others judged your pain, while the enemy counted you out, heaven was guarding a sealed portion of glory in your soul. And that's what kept you. Not your strength, not your knowledge, not even your prayers. It was the hidden weapon. Michael whispers, your worship, even when it was weak, your tears, even when silent, your faith, even when barely hanging on, all of it became a vault, a covering, a legacy weapon the enemy couldn't disarm. There are moments in your past you thought you failed. You thought you were too broken, too inconsistent, too late. But heaven says, you didn't fail, you were being hidden. Station, hidden, for the appointed time, hidden, while the storm passed over, hidden, until the enemy gave up searching. The devil scanned your bloodline and thought he broke the chain, but he missed what God sealed inside you. And now it's being revealed. This moment, this word, this confirmation is heaven's declaration. The enemy failed. That depression didn't stop you. That betrayal didn't kill your calling. That trauma didn't unravel your destiny, because what was hidden in you was never his to touch. Michael speaks with reverence now. What you carried was sacred, and because you didn't abandon it, a breakthrough is about to pour into future generations. And though it's not one tense, there's something in your story, something in your obedience, that preserved an inheritance. You didn't even know it. You thought you were surviving, but you were interceding. You were carrying the bloodline forward, in silence, in worship, in tears. What you protected in the night is now about to bloom in the light. Michael bows not in pity, but in honor. Few would have survived what you carried. Fewer still would have worshipped while carrying it. But you did, and heaven took note. This is not poetic. This is prophetic. There is a sound being released in the spirit realm. Chains snapping, darkness retreating, angels moving. Because the hidden weapon has now been activated, you may feel a warmth in your chest, a sudden wave of tears, a sense of peace you haven't felt in months. That's not coincidence. That's the sealed weapon opening, and what was stored inside: joy, healing, clarity, wisdom, authority, will now be poured out through you. You are the living evidence that God hides His glory in broken places. You are the jar of clay. You are the vault of grace. And today, heaven says, it's time to release what you've carried, not just for you, but for those coming after you, your children, your friends, your city, your generation. You are not weak. You are not forgotten. You are the one the enemy overlooked. And that's exactly why heaven chose you. This moment is holy. Take a deep breath. Let the revelation settle. You carried something the enemy couldn't touch. And now, it's time for the world to feel its power. Michael closes this word with final affirmation. You have endured. You have protected. You have preserved. And heaven is proud. Let those words erase the shame. Let them calm the racing thoughts. Let them wrap around every place in you that still wondered, was any of it worth it? Yes, it was worth it, because it didn't die. It lived inside you. The promise, the purity, the purpose. And now that the enemy has failed, heaven will finish what it started. This part closes with whispered reverence. Now we seal this journey with the blessing you've waited your whole life to hear. Come to the final part. Your healing, your covering, your benediction awaits. You can rest now, not because the battle didn't matter, but because it's finally over. You've carried weight for so long that peace almost feels unfamiliar. But listen closely. Heaven is lifting what was never yours to carry. This was not just another video. This was not just emotional comfort. This was not coincidence. This was a divine appointment. And heaven kept it right on time. Psalm 121:8 says, "The Lord will watch over your coming and going, both now and forevermore." It is not mokes from Mentris. Let those words settle into your bones. Coming and going, your mornings, your nights, your quiet grief, your silent prayers, your return and your rising, all watched, all guarded, all covered. Michael steps forward slowly, reverently. There are no battles to announce now, no warnings, no weapons drawn, just this. You've endured, and because of that, healing has begun. Protection has been sealed, and you are covered. Take that in. Not partially, not temporarily. You are completely, supernaturally, eternally covered. Over your mind, where thoughts once raced and spiraled, there is now a quiet, holy stillness. Over your heart, where grief cracked the edges of your hope, there is now oil being poured gently into the wounds. Over your home, where confusion and fear tried to enter, there are now angels posted at every threshold. Over your family, spoken or estranged, whole or fragmented, a new banner of divine intervention is flying high. Over your future, where the unknown once tormented you, there is now clarity, sealed in heaven's script. Michael bows in honor now, not as a warrior, but as a witness. He speaks softly. This moment was never just about healing, it was about sealing. What heaven has healed, it now protects. What heaven has touched, it now claims. And so, child of God, this is your seal. Your fears no longer own you. Your failures no longer define you. Your past no longer chains you. You are not too late. You are not forgotten. You are not invisible. Heaven says, you are remembered. You are redeemed. You are restored. And for the first time in a long time, you are finally at peace. Close your eyes for a moment. Take one deep breath. Let this silence hold you. Can you feel it? The shift, the weight lifting, the healing reaching the roots. The angels surrounding your space, soft and unseen but unmistakably real. This is what it means to be covered, not just in theory, not just with words, but with power, with protection, with presence. Michael doesn't leave. He stays. And as he stays, he whispers this truth. Come back tomorrow. This is your sanctuary now. Not just for crisis, but for peace, for rest, for healing that keeps growing. You don't need to perform to be welcomed here. You don't need perfect faith to be embraced. You don't need the right words to be seen. Just show up, because when you return here, you return to your covering. You return to your anointing. You return to the altar where heaven meets your humanity. And every time you do, more healing will unfold. More chains will break. More peace will anchor your days. Let this final moment seal the journey. You are not what happened to you. You are what God preserved in you. You are not the mistake you made. You are the mercy He gave. You are not the fear that chased you. You are the light that never went out. You are not the label they whispered. You are the name heaven wrote down in fire. Now, as you lie down tonight, may the covering of God settle like a blanket of safety over your body and soul. May your dreams carry restoration. May your sleep be unshaken. May your heart stop rehearsing battles already won. And may you wake knowing you are walking into tomorrow as one who is protected, healed, and chosen. This part ends not with noise, but with stillness. Let the whisper echo. The promise is sealed. The angels remain. You are covered.